Now it's time for our technology presentation, and I'm delighted to introduce Nigel Byrne, our Chief Technology Officer. Nigel has more than 20 years telco experience. He sits on the board of IOH in Indonesia, as well as in Tunisia and Algeria. He has been with Ooredoo since 2010. Nigel, over to you.
Good morning. My name is Nigel Byrne. I'm the Group Chief Technology and Information Officer here at Ooredoo Group. This morning you've heard from some of my colleagues on the overall business strategy for Ooredoo. You've heard from Aziz, you've heard from Saeem, you've heard from Rene, you've heard from Fatima, and you've heard from Bilal. Now I'm going to discuss a little bit the implications of that business strategy on technology and give you some examples of how that's changing how we work. Earlier this year, we've developed what we call O25, Ooredoo 2025, which is our technology strategy for the next 3 to 4 years. So, the financial implications of this O25. So you see 3 numbers here, 5, 5, 10. This is the CapEx, OpEx, and total that we will spend on technology between 2022 and 2025 in billions of US dollars. So getting this right, investing in the right things, and making sure that those investments allow us to get the best return for our shareholders is key for us. O25, what does it mean for our customers? Traditionally, we have been product houses, developing long lists of products and pushing them out to our market. That just doesn't work in the digital age. Think of a Netflix. We have to have a simple product portfolio that we push to our customers above the line. Then all of the personalization happens via CVM and below the line, and that's how we do that differentiation. So simple products. Also, we really believe in the future we have to be converged. We need to offer fixed services, we need to offer mobile services. And you've heard a lot earlier today about our investments into fiber and fiber to the home. And why is that so important? The mobile networks today can deliver the services that people want. The challenge is, in 5 to 10 years, the services that people will want to consume, particularly the virtual reality and augmented reality, will need much higher bandwidths than the mobile networks can provide. You're talking 1 to 2 gigs. The only way to do that will be with fiber to the home. So anyone that can afford fiber in the future will have a fiber connection, and we need to play in that market. So this is O25 and what we are going to focus on in technology for our investments and our strategy and designing and building our networks and technology systems. We're focused on customer experience, value engineering, design with simplicity. We want to be data-driven. We want to win this war for talent. We need talent density. We're focused on cybersecurity. And of course, we're conscious of the green agenda. Over the next 10 or 15 minutes, I'm going to give you examples in each of these areas on how these are changing, how we work, and what the implications are. So, O25, the new operating model. So we're looking at where we were and now where we're going and the journey we're on. So traditionally we've been very technology centric, looking at the technology, what's new, how do we deploy it? That's not the future, that's not where we are. We are customer centric. What do our customers need? What services do they need to access? Then, what do we need to build in technology to enable that? You know, we've been traditionally as a business siloed. The technology section, the commercial section, the finance section. But now we're working together on all of these plans to make sure that they're joined up, that actually we're making business-based decisions. We've also been traditionally quite reactive. This could be reactive in how we build and design networks. It could be how we fix networks. But we're moving to a much more proactive model. And how are we doing this? You know, we're moving from this world of manual to this world of using machines and big data and artificial intelligence to help us drive and build the networks of the future. So, a little bit about customer experience. We traditionally have built networks, and these networks allow everyone, irrespective of what they pay us, to have the same access to the network. Okay? But think of the airline industry. They sell economy seats, they sell premium economy seats, and they sell business class seats. Well, we have now got the technologies in place to do the very same on the network, and we can sell a good, a better, and a best service, because those that are paying more should always get access to the services they need, irrespective of how much traffic is on the network. And that's something that we want to do, provide customers the experience that they're paying for. So a little piece on value engineering. We really believe what matters is designing our networks for the right level of experience, not the best. And let me explain a little bit about this slide. So if you imagine down the bottom here, we have throughput. So starting at low throughput and going to high throughput. And then the two lines, the blue and the green, they represent two different networks. So you can see the blue network provides peak speeds that are really, really high. You know, and let's call this a little bit of a building a network to have a vanity speed in a way. So you've invested a lot, you know, to push high throughput. But at the lower end, they have customers who don't get a service that they're satisfied with. You can see the black dotted line represents the minimum throughput to allow HD video. Okay, so on one side, these amazing peak speeds, but on the other side, dissatisfied customers. Then you have the network on top, the one with the green line. So you can see a much tighter range of throughputs. So the peak is not as high, but actually the low point for the bottom 10 customers is above that minimum line. That network, they're the networks we are building. We want to provide a consistent level of experience. We're not interested in chasing this peak speed for vanity and for press releases. We want to invest in consistency. And that's what matters to our customers. So design with simplicity on the network side. So here we're looking at transmission systems. You know, in the past, we've had large numbers of microwave links that are chained together. You know, and that was quite cost effective in the 2G world, in the 3G world. We've even managed in 4G to do this. The challenge is that architecture will not work for the future, particularly with more and more data usage on every site. At the same time, putting fiber on every single site in our networks would be very costly. So we have a strategy that says we should have all sites that are one hop from fiber. So in other words, yes, large parts of the network will be fiberized, but we can also have sites that will use a very high capacity microwave link for a single hop to give us what we need. You'll see on the right of this slide, this is where we are today. We've made very good progress on this over the last couple of years, and you'll see, you know, about half our opcos are in a good place. And then we are also investing in the other half to make sure that they move forward and catch up a little bit. So very focused on that over the next couple of years. And this is optimal in terms of the fiber investment and also using spectrum on the microwave side. So design with simplicity in IT. So if you look at the drawing on the slide, and if we start at the bottom, the monster under the sea represents the legacy of where we've come from with IT. And I mean, let's be honest, for telcos, that's what it looks like, you know? It's complicated, it's messy, but you know what? That's where we are. What we need to do is abstract that messiness, so a little bit that balloon that's floating on the sea. That is us putting in place the open digital architecture, a standardized set of API and microservices to abstract that legacy, to abstract that complication, so we can really accelerate the digital journey. And then the front end is what our customers and our partners will see. It allows us to be quick, to be agile, But at the same time, it also means that we don't need to replace all of the legacy. We can work with it. So, O25, data-driven organizations. So the top of this slide represents the methodology that we will use. So we're talking big data, we're talking machine learning, we're talking AI, and then we're talking insights. The bottom of this is actually a specific example. We are deploying what we call smart network planning capabilities across all of our markets. What we have here is, along the bottom axis, is effectively what we'll call site utilization. Yeah. So if you could imagine on the left at 100, basically the site is empty. As we go along that x-axis, getting to the 20, it means there's only 20% of capacity left on that site. So those sites are starting to get congested. Now, in the past, what we would have done is, site is 80% utilized. We need to expand that site. We need to spend CapEx on that site. But now, using these technologies and these tools and combining different algorithms, you see the green box and the yellow box. So what we actually know now using this tool is, of all the sites that are at 80% utilization, it's only the green sites that are having an impact on customer experience. So actually, we can avoid and delay the investments on all of those sites that are down in that yellow part until they start having that impact on experience. And you can see that's a big delay in CapEx. So on the right, we have a couple of stats. Now, we deployed this tool into one of our markets after we had put 5G in, right? So these are some examples of things that we've learned from how we did things in the past, but how we can avoid certain things in other markets in the future. So here's a couple of examples. Using this tool, we were able to tell that 19% of those sites basically didn't have enough 5G devices on them to actually roll out at that stage. 3% of the sites is what we call negative profitability. And very interesting as well, in 4% of the areas, we reckon there was an opportunity to do more, and it's missed data revenues. These are a bit looking backwards, but as we get this tool deployed into all our markets, these are things we will be able to avoid in the future. And look, what we like to say in technologies, we want to move from opinions to facts and telling stories with our data. Talent density. So important to our success in the future is going to be winning this war for talent. And if we think about our networks and how complex they are, we have 2G and 3G and 4G and 5G, and we'll have 6G in the future. And that to manually manage all of those is so complicated. So, we've talked already about using, big data, machine learning, artificial intelligence, and indeed we're doing that today. We're doing that to optimize our networks. We have the machines actually making millions and millions of changes today across our networks that we used to do manually. So that's allowing us, if you like, to free up certain resources. And the future is going to be smaller teams. The future is going to be more talent-dense teams, and we really need these people who think differently, who we say tell stories with data, and it's about this agile mindset. It's about these people who understand the 1% and making a difference and delivering change. Cybersecurity. Really conscious that cybersecurity now represents the single biggest risk to our business today. And that has driven a change in how we're managing security. We have traditionally managed security at an individual country level. We are now beefing up our capabilities here at the group, taking a real leadership role, making sure we can sort of transfer best practice and learnings from one country to the next. And look, if we look at these kind of stats, what we do know is, the cyber risk is just exponentially growing. And those that can react quickly, that can find problems quickly, you know, basically manage to reduce the risk, but also reduce the financial exposure. And that is our aim. And also our aim is very much to move the mindset to a risk-based security approach. So we're not interested in, you know, investing in the tools for the sake of the tools. It has to be a risk-based approach on the controls and the solutions that we put in place. Green. The great news is the cost of renewables are falling. At the same time, as a business, we want to make investments that make sense. So we do want to partner in the countries with suppliers of renewables, because that's the one that makes the big change here. But at the same time, we are looking and investing where it makes sense. So I have a couple of examples here. For off-grid and poor grid sites, so in other words, where the grid is kind of up and down, there's some great solutions out there, like charge discharge. So what you do here is you run the generator, it charges a lithium battery bank. You turn off the generator, you use the batteries. This solution, depending on poor grid or off grid, saves between 20 and 40% of diesel consumption. We are also using network features across our network just to optimize the power usage. And overall, we get about a 4% reduction in network consumption. So these are the things that we're looking at all the time. As I said, the biggest thing that will make a difference here is in our countries having sources of renewables, and we are looking for those partners, and we will continue to look for those partners. Thank you very much. Happy to take your questions in the Q&A.